Hey everybody, Dave here. Today I want to do a little bit different kind of video. I usually just do something in RPA and more recently C# where I just develop on screen. Today I actually want to take a completely different approach and I just want to talk about a topic. So what I'm going to do though is clean off the camera. Interesting, is that better? Am I suddenly amazing looking? What I'm going to do today though is I want to talk about dark mode. What is dark mode? A lot of applications have different themes that are related to the color scheme. And when I say dark mode, I'm referring to a color scheme that is primarily relatively darker colors for the background and then lighter colors for the foreground. That would mean like the font color would be more like white or like a brighter color, whereas the background to that font is much darker. And the reason that that's so important to me is actually like, it's funny, it's kind of difficult for me to record this video because of these lights in my eyes. And I frequently have, I'm just going to leave it a little bit ambiguous. I just have some issues with my eyes. It's quite debilitating sometimes to the point where I can't even look at the screen when like a team member at work is trying to share their screen. And if it's primarily just a bunch of like, it just looks like a flashbang to me from Counter-Strike. I'm not trying to be funny. It just genuinely is painful for me. So I wanted to talk about some different tools that are still, for whatever reason, still don't have a dark mode setting, a dark theme. I really think it is important for accessibility to implement dark mode. The first one I want to bring up is Blue Prism. Blue Prism is the primary tool that I use every day at work, and it is still just the brightest desktop application that exists. And I understand why it is, but the tool, the user interface for the development environment at least, has not changed in like 8 years or something. I don't know how long it's been. It is very important to recognize that the user base of a tool have different needs. And it is strange to me that in 2024, there are still companies making tools and then not putting dark mode into them. Now, most more recent tools do have like theme changes. And I never imply that like a tool should at base only support dark mode. That doesn't make any sense. It should support light mode, dark mode, really as much customization as possible. It was great, but I understand that takes time to develop that kind of flexibility. So at the very least, a light mode and a dark mode. And the goal should be that less white light is shining out of the screen into your eyes. So I'm going to open up Blue Prism here. I'm going to make it full screen. And you can see how much light is shining in my eyes. And now I'm going to make it minimize. And was there a difference there? Was it like, obviously, let's try it again. Okay, because I can't actually see this. I'll have to see the recording later. Wait, no, I can put this up here. I'm going to do this. Wait, can I, okay, yeah. So you can actually see the light change in my face. It's crazy. But if I bring up a dark mode app, okay, so let's just say like File Explorer, because File Explorer is in dark mode because my desktop is. Watch when I bring up that. You couldn't even see a change. You couldn't see anything. Why? Because when it's dark mode, and I don't understand light or colors or how this works, but my eyes are not inundated with extra light when it is a darker color. The only white light necessary here is like the font, the text, so that I can read it. There are days where I can't even do my job because I can't handle the light coming from my monitor. And then many of the other days when I'm not having that issue, I still have a hard time. I have to go through accessibility features in Windows to change everything in such a way that all of my applications are in light mode, right? Then I change the color filters so that it inverses the colors. So black goes to white, white goes to black. And then it also changes it to like a grayscale kind of thing so that I have a chance of reading what's on the screen. Beyond that, things that become difficult for me is anytime colors are important. So highlighting in a document or like, oh, this button is green, this button is red. So that's how you know like the difference in functionality or whatever. Those kinds of things are really hard for me because I can't see that stuff. It's not that I'm colorblind, it's that I'm making myself be colorblind by doing the color filters. The other tool that I wanted to bring up was Power Automate Desktop. So that's the other RPA tool that I'm aware of right now that doesn't have a dark mode. And I don't understand that because Microsoft clearly understands accessibility features. They built it into Windows. Now, I know that there's two different, entirely separate teams who work on Windows compared to work on Power Automate Desktop. Like, of course, there may not even be any communication between those two. But I also can see that there are standards applied across all applications that are made by Microsoft. And I don't understand why dark theme and light theme are not applied to all of those tools. You could absolutely implement a dark mode in Power Automate Desktop so that I can stop suffering. So let's open up Power Automate Desktop here. I got Power Automate Desktop open here on my desktop. I'm looking up at my camera so I can see myself. I'm going to watch that as I click this. Okay. So I'm opening Power Automate Desktop on this screen that's down here in front of me. Look how much extra light comes off. Like, what in the world? Why is it like this? So I'm going to minimize it. You can see it goes back down to normal. Oh my gosh. And the lighting you see on me right now is purposefully because of lighting that I have on. So I'm going to turn it off real quick so you can see. Okay, so this is with both of the key light and whatever the other light's called turned off, and then just the light in my room turned on. And you can see that I'm super dark. And that's because I have the ISO or exposure or whatever turned way down on my camera so I could get a better quality. But that also means I need to turn the lights up bright so that I can get a good quality image on the camera. And you know, for short recordings like this, like I'm okay with it. I just deal with it. This is, and the lights are like on the left and right sides of my vision, so I'm not looking right into them. But this is a little rough. But the fact that I have to do work by looking directly at something that lights my face up like this, even with those other lights. Oh, you know what I should do? Let's turn off the lights. Okay. Okay. Look, okay, I'm gonna bring up Power Automate Desktop. Let's see how much it lights up my face. Look at that. I could just, you know, this is a good point. I don't really need lights. Actually, I'm just going to use light mode for all of my applications. And then I don't need to have lighting in my room for the camera because this is solid. I could probably increase the exposure a little bit and we'd be good to go. Wow. My teeth are kind of messed up. Let's turn the lights back on. Close Power Automate Desktop. I just wanted to talk about why it's so frustrating to me that there isn't a dark mode in some applications like Blue Prism and Power Automate Desktop. These are the two that are just in my face constantly, like just shouting at me with flashbang light from Counter-Strike. And I just don't understand why we can't fix this. Now, maybe it's on the roadmap. I don't know, but I and others brought this up years ago and it still hasn't been implemented. And that tells me that the people who are creating Power Automate Desktop do not care about our eyes. And I don't get that. So I have to complain about this. And now I'm going to bring this up constantly. And every version of Power Automate Desktop, I'm complaining about it. Like maybe you don't see it, but I'm complaining about it. Whether it's to my wife or whether it's to my coworkers or if I'm posting on LinkedIn or whatever, I'm complaining and it is so frustrating. So, you know, this was a different video. How did you feel about it? Did you feel irritated? Did you feel like I'm being ridiculous? Am I being a crybaby about dark mode? If I said that there should never be a light mode in an application because light mode is horrible. Well, that's not true because light mode, it's actually easier to read stuff. Like black text on a white background is easier to read than white text on a black background. I don't really understand why that is, but even I will sometimes switch to that. Like I'll switch back and forth so that I can read things better based upon whatever looks better to me at the time. And obviously if I'm having any eye issues at the time, I can't do the light mode regardless. I have to be in the dark mode. But I'm not over here saying light mode shouldn't exist. I'm saying it shouldn't exist on my screen. That's it. Everybody else can have whatever they want, and that's fine. I just don't want to have to suffer anymore. Is this channel just going to become a complain channel? Do I just make it Dave the Complainer Guy? That's such a good idea. Maybe I should start a different channel, and all I do is just complain about something. I have so many things to complain about. But the thing is that I'm not angry about any of this. Even light mode and stuff doesn't make me angry. It just makes me suffer. Does that make sense? Power Automate Desktop and Blue Prism, I'm calling you out. I think you don't care about my eyes. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.